Chapter 9. By the time Scarlet's shooting star delivered her to Wishworld, she had fully transformed from a starling into as convincing a wishling as a starling could be. Her skin was flat and freckled, without a hint of sparkle or a tinge of pink. Her eyes were brown instead of rose-colored. She had even toned down her hair, so it was black with a single streak of bright pink. Scarlet was pretty sure, too, that the outfit she'd ultimately chosen would convince any wishling she might encounter that she'd lived there all her life. First, she'd picked those pants wishlings adored, according to Professor Margaret Dumar, who knew the ways of wishlings inside and out. Dungarees, she called them, though most starlings who'd been to Wishworld seemed to refer to them as jeans. Scarlet also wore a deep burgundy hoodie, made of a dense, rather stiff wishling fabric, with a puffy black vest over that. Finally, on her feet were brand new boots from Lady Stella, which would be her wish pendant from then on. One day, on her own mission, the rows of star-shaped energy-absorbing jewel buckles would light up when she met her wisher, and absorb all the wish energy produced when that wisher's wish came true. For now, however, Scarlet was careful to pull her jeans down to cover as many of the jewels as she could. Scarlet stood where she'd landed, in a Wishworld meadow filled with green grass and yellow flowers, canopied by a bright blue sky. In the distance, she could see a sharp steeple and the starkly angled rooftops of what looked like a small town. So strange, she thought as she looked around, and so uncomfortable as well. She sensed it first on her back, then on the top of her head, under her hood, a deep, inescapable feeling unlike any other she'd ever had. It didn't take away from the excitement of being on Wishworld at last. It just distracted her a bit. Scarlet pulled down her hood, and that helped a little, especially when a light breeze swept through her hair. But the uncomfortable feeling soon returned, stronger than before. Scarlet slipped off her vest and began to fan herself. That made a big difference, she discovered with relief. Curious, she checked her stars app to see what the temperature was. Solar flare, she thought, as she realized how much warmer it was there than on Starland. Quickly, she reactivated her Wishworld outfit selector and dialed up a tank top. Much better, she thought. She wasn't there to worry about her comfort, though, Scarlet reminded herself. She was there to do a job, and even more important, to prove what she could do. She needed to fix whatever mess Ophelia had made, and get a wish granted and wish energy collected as soon as starlingly possible. Ophelia had already squandered half the time the wish orb gave her, so there wasn't a moogle left to waste. Quickly, she folded up her star and slipped it into her pocket. Then, she switched her stars app to locator mode. "Take me to Ophelia," she told it, and directions appeared instantly. To Scarlet's star prize, the directions led her away from the town and into a vast field. It appeared to be full of some kind of crop, from what Scarlet had learned of wishling ways of growing food. The plants stood in straight rows and were tall, much taller than she, with long, pointy, floppy green leaves. Near each stalk bloomed tight, tube-like flowers, nearly the size of Scarlet's arm, each with dark, silky threads spilling from its top. They gave off a distinct, sweetish scent, too, which made Scarlet's nose begin to twitch. She stepped forward and bumped right into something. "Starf," she said, stepping back. She stepped forward again. Same thing. As she reached out into the air in front of her, Scarlet's hand encountered a smooth surface. Aha! A smile spread across her face. It was the smooth surface of an invisible tent. "Ophelia?" Scarlet knelt down and cautiously parted the flaps of the glitter-covered tent. Ophelia's glitter-covered invisibility-cloaked tent, to be exact. As she did, a glittery, wide-eyed, freckled face peered out with a tiny, panicked squeal. Eek! Oh, thank stars you're here! Ophelia gasped, bursting out of the tent and into Scarlet's arms. Scarlet fell backward onto the star-studded back pockets of her jeans. "Star apologies," said Ophelia, clambering off her. "It's just so good to see a to see a familiar face, at least." Indeed, Scarlet's face was far from friendly then. She could feel the irritation hot beneath her sneer. "What in the stars are you doing in your tent, Ophelia? And please tell me you've changed your appearance and you don't still look like that to everyone here." Scarlet knew starlings always looked glittery to each other, no matter where they were or what form they assumed. Something, though, about the way Ophelia was flashing and hiding made Scarlet think she just might look glittery to wishlings, too. Ophelia looked down at her shimmering skin and wrung her hands, which only amplified their glow. "Those answers go together, I guess." She looked up miserably and gulped. "You were supposed to change your appearance and find your wisher," Scarlet said, disgusted. "Did you try to do either of those things?" Ophelia nodded meekly. "I tried, but I don't know. Nothing seemed to work." She pulled out her stars app and showed it to Scarlet. "This was supposed to help me change my appearance, right?" Scarlet nodded. "Well, nothing happened." "What do you mean, nothing? It's so easy." "No Wishworld outfit selector either?" Ophelia shook her head. "And when I asked it to take me to my wisher?" "What?" "What did it say?" "It said, 'Reply hazy. Ask again.'" "So did you?" "Only a high-drong times," Ophelia groaned. "Finally, I just tried to go and find her in that little town on my own." "Like that?" Scarlet asked, looking Ophelia up and down. "Well, what else could I do?" she said meekly. "But I didn't try for very long. Everyone was staring and asking me questions like, 'Is there a circus in town?' And, 'Are you a clown?' What's a circus and what's a clown anyway?" They're like royalty," Scarlet guessed, since she didn't know. "Oh," Ophelia nodded. "So anyway, I gave up because of that. And because of this thing, too." She held her hand out toward Scarlet. On her wrist was a thick yellow bracelet studded with star-shaped jewels. "Is that your wish pendant?" Ophelia nodded. "Pretty, isn't it?" She sighed. "Did it ever glow?" Ophelia shook her head. "Not even a little," she replied. "I thought it was because I couldn't find my wisher, but now I'm not so sure that it's not broken too. But anyway, that's why I'm here." She gazed at the field around her tent. "I didn't know where else to go, and at least my stars app could do this. I really wanted to make this mission succeed. Truly, Scarlet, I did." She sniffed. "I didn't mean to fail." Her glittery orange eyelashes fluttered as glittery orange tears welled in her eyes. "I'm just so happy to see you, Scarlet. Truly I am. How in the stars did you know to come?" She paused as another question suddenly popped into her head. "But why? How is it you, Scarlet? I thought—" She stopped and bit her thumb. "It's okay. Go ahead and say it," said Scarlet. "You thought I'd been kicked out of the group for good?" "You're right. I was. But I never should have been. It was all a big mistake." "So you're back in?" exclaimed Ophelia. She wiped her tears and began to grin. "That's starmendous! I'm so happy for you. And so relieved." She sighed. "So, shall I wait here while you go find the wisher and grant her wish so we can go home?" "I wish," Scarlet muttered. Ophelia looked confused. "It's still your wish," Scarlet told her. She shrugged as Ophelia's smile of relief collapsed. "Hey, don't blame me. I don't make the rules. According to Lady Stella, I'm here to help. That's all." Ophelia gestured toward her starling garments, then to her fluorescent orange pigtails. "Here." Scarlet dialed up appearance transformation on her stars app and placed it in Ophelia's hand. "Try mine and see what happens." Ophelia clutched it tightly, holding her breath. "Recite the mantra," Scarlet reminded her, "and put one hand on your bracelet." "Oh, right. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. See tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, have this wish I... Wish tonight." Scarlet watched with more irritation than relief as the sparkle finally drained from Ophelia's skin and hair, like sand through an hourglass. She noticed a bit of loose glitter clinging to her arms and the frizzy ends of her dull orange pigtails. "Shake," Scarlet told Ophelia. She did. "How do I look?" Ophelia asked, rubbing her newly green eyes and inspecting her pale pink fingernails. "Dull," Scarlet replied approvingly. "Now dial up the Wishworld outfit selector, and let's get out of here. See that?" She pointed to the steadily counting down timer in the Stars app's upper left corner. "That's how much time we have left to grant this wish. One Moogle longer and the mission fails." Ophelia gasped. "But isn't that less than a Wishworld week?" Scarlet shook her head. "More like less than a Wishworld day." "Oh, I hope we can grant it," said Ophelia. "It will be so hard to go back if we don't." Scarlet laughed. She couldn't help it. Ophelia had so much still to learn. "What's so funny?" "Don't be silly," said Scarlet. "You'll just use your star." Scarlet sighed. This was way worse than she had imagined. "My star?" Before, Ophelia had looked anxious. Now she simply looked confused. "Your star," said Scarlet. "The one that you came on? The one you have folded up in your backpack?" "Wait. What? No, don't tell me you don't." Ophelia shook her head slowly, once in each direction. Her mouth trembled, but no sound came out. "Well, where is it? What did you do with it?" asked Scarlet. She groaned. "Oh, don't tell me you let it fizzle out." "I didn't mean to," said Ophelia, sniffling back tears. "Nobody told me about folding it up."